Better late than never, I guess, right? We finally got one. As usual, I'm Jake Baldino, and today we're going to talk about the NES Classic. For those of you that don't know, these things have been hard to hunt down throughout the holiday season because Nintendo couldn't really meet demand. These things have been hot-ticket items with plenty of scalpers and people lining up at stores and overloading websites to pre-order, all for this little teeny classic video game product. Now, after spending a good amount of time with the NES Classic, I'll say it's a good product and a bad product. It's definitely for a certain type of person. Now look, I'm going to talk to you guys because chances are you subscribe to gameranx, you're a certain type of person. It's probably not going to be for you. It is definitely an overhyped product. I'm sure a lot of us have really been sitting on the sidelines saying, why is this thing such a big deal? So if you do think about picking one up, you should go into it with low expectations. Not bad expectations, just it's a simple little product. I'll get to that, but let's talk about what this is. For the price of just kind of a new release game at $60, you get this classic little console with 30 built-in games. Unfortunately, Nintendo doesn't allow you to add more games. There's no internet connectivity or anything like that, but it can be hacked. We have talked about that in the past. And even still, getting this thing and taking it out of the box, I was blown away by how small it actually is. But it's a nice little form factor. It makes sense. It's actually amazingly small. It's practically the size of an NES game. It looks and feels a lot like the original one, especially with the look and the power and reset buttons, but of course this thing connects via HDMI and USB for power. It's got a built-in menu that's actually pretty nice. You scroll through and you choose the games and this cool vintage music plays. There's options and there's filters and the ability to scroll through games that are only 2-player. There's also the ability to create save states and just nice little modern conveniences here and there that make it a good experience. There are different ways to display, most notably the CRT filter, which looks a little tacky, and 4:3 mode. 4:3 seems to have the most input lag, and I think in general that type of thing is going to bother the hardcore people who still play these games a lot on retro consoles. But you can reduce it somewhat with game mode on your TV, but I don't always recommend that setting in every instance. While there's only 30 games, that is quite a bit, and there's a fairly decent selection of games with a few glaring omissions, but there is enough fun stuff on there. All the classic Mario games, the Zelda games, the first Castlevania, Metroid, Dr. Mario, Excitebike, and a bunch of other surprises, even Contra are there. But there's also some really huge stinkers that haven't aged well and never really were good, at least to me in the first place, like Star Tropics, Ice Climbers I never really was a big fan of, and some people would argue that Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest is a game that is not good and shouldn't belong on this. The controllers look and feel pretty nice. They're a lot like how you would remember if you did grow up playing one of these things. If you didn't, you're probably going to find them really uncomfortable and unintuitive. But they still do the job pretty damn well. Just the one issue is that the controller length is so damn short. It's even shorter than the original Nintendo's, which back in the day, it would have made sense for these to be so short because you're crammed up right in front of a small TV, but if you hook this up to a modern 40-inch television and you're sitting on your couch, this thing does not reach at all, and you're gonna have cables everywhere, and you're gonna have the actual NES box just kind of hanging in midair. It's really awkward, and while you can buy extenders, it's just a thing that shouldn't even be the way it is, if I'm honest. Now, like I said, I'm talking to you guys. If you're watching this video, the chances are you're probably a hardcore gamer, and honestly, I don't think this thing is worth it, unless you're a very simple person and you just want to go out and buy a simple little console that plays some NES games and have some fun. You know, there's a million other ways to play these games via virtual console on any other Nintendo console, or if you just run some ROMs on your computer or your Android phone or basically anything. There's a lot of ways to play these games, not to mention just going out and getting a regular NES console, which of course is a bit more expensive, but it is definitely the ideal way to play. I will say that though, and it was difficult for me, but once you get over like your gamer snobbery and you just sit back and have fun, it is a fun little console. There is some fun factor here that I got to acknowledge. Now you can say that at $60 and for $10 for an extra controller, it's a nice little price, but if you think about it, you can play those games for a lot cheaper in a lot of different alternatives. I will say, however, that this is for the more casual person. You know, if you know someone that just grew up with Nintendo or grew up with classic games, this makes an awesome birthday present or Christmas gift or little thing that is going to keep either grandma or your parents or your older brother or sister very happy for a very long time. If you want a very, very simple gaming experience and you can get over yourself with the fact that you can download these on a PC for free, then yeah, maybe you'll have a good time with your friends and family. But like I said, it's just the fact that people are lining up and buying these things like crazy. Maybe for someone that actually plays video games every day, it doesn't really matter to us. But for casual audiences, it does do exactly what it sets out to do, and it does do it fairly well with a few flaws, and it's pretty cool. That's it, honestly. The NES Classic is really, really simple. Since this thing has been successful, I'm really looking forward to seeing if Nintendo does right some of its wrongs with this with another revision, maybe on a Super Nintendo. But I guess for that, we'll have have to wait and see, but you guys know I will be in the comments and on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Jake Baldino answering your questions. But I do want to talk about this thing. Let's talk about it in the comments. If you got a list of your favorite games that are included on this thing, let us know. And if you have some games that you think should have been included on this game but haven't, we definitely want to talk about that as well. I can think of a few omissions myself, but I definitely want to hear yours. You guys know the drill by now. Clicking the like button helps us out a ton and we appreciate it. And if you are new, there's a circle button over there. If you click that and subscribe, you'll see our videos that we put out every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.